Hey guys, back with another video. Here we are looking at a game that I played on chess.com. You can see I'm about a 1200 elo player. I'm playing with the white pieces, and this is a 3 minutes blitz game. So let's see what happens. In the game, I start with the move pawn to e4. My opponent plays the move pawn to e5. And I go ahead and develop my knight into the center, and they do the same. So pretty symmetrical position. This is where I play the move c3, setting up the Ponziani opening. And after the move knight to f6, we go ahead and strike in the center with d4. And once they take, before we recapture this pawn, we don't want to do this first. That's an inaccuracy because it allows them to take this free pawn here. We actually push this pawn to kick this knight away. And once the knight moves, then we recapture that pawn. They give me this check here, but I just block with my knight. Note that I cannot block with my knight up here, because if I put my knight here, they're able to take. And once I take back, they can take with the bishop. And now I lose a rook because they forked me. And so I'm simply down a rook in that position. So that's why I can't block over there. I have to block over here. Additionally, I could have blocked with the bishop. It would have also worked, but you generally want to block with a knight when you can. So they go ahead and take the knight, and I just take back and develop my bishop, and then they castle their king. Here I develop my bishop attacking this unprotected knight. They have to move it out of the way, and then I drop my bishop back to get out of the way of the knight since it was then attacking it. They then attack my pawn in the center and open up their light squared bishop here, but I just go ahead and castle my king to safety. They take the bishop, and I take with the pawn, but here, if I would have taken with the knight, they could have taken back with the knight, and then I would have taken with the pawn, and there would be fewer pieces on the board, so it would be a bit more open and a bit more clear what was happening. But because I took with the pawn, they go ahead and develop their rook here, and now what the computer wants me to do is put my, sorry, not my bishop there, sorry, my knight there. But what I do is I develop my queen to protect this pawn even further, because now if they take with the knight, I could take back with the knight, and they can't take with the rook, because then they're just giving up a rook. But then my opponent plays the move knight to d7, and I go ahead and now I attack the queen. After they block the queen up there, I push this pawn here, attacking the knight and the pawn. And what they should do is they should take my pawn right here, but that would lead to a check on the king. So my opponent tries to kick my bishop away, but now I'm able to take this pawn in front of the king because my bishop is defending this pawn. And what that does is let me win their rook. Man, I think it's funny that the computer gives this an excellent move. It actually wants me to just under promote to a rook. It says that's the best. Either way, this pawn will get taken. So I just find that a funny little quirk. It doesn't matter what I promoted to, queen or rook, because I want a rook there, so I'm doing well. So after that, I decide, okay, now I'm up a rook. Let's start trading some pieces. I take this knight off with my bishop, and it comes with check. They're forced to take with the queen because they can't move their king because my bishop cuts off this diagonal. And then I decide to trade queens to get the queens off the board. And now you can see I have two rooks. They have one rook. We both have light squared bishops, and we both have a knight, and we both have 5 pawns. So I'm just up a clean rook. I then decide to check over here. They move out of the way. What I should have done was checked up here to get my rook a bit higher up, but I gave this check instead. I slide my other rook into the game, and they move their knight attacking my bishop. So I move my bishop with check. They can't take it because it's defended by the rook. They slide over, and then I attack the knight and force it to move. Once it moves, I attack it again with the bishop, and now it's attacking my rook. So I go ahead and slide my rook up. I could have also gone this way. Once it moves again, I push this pawn, and I'm slowly suffocating this king's position. So they move the knight once again, and now I give this check right here, and I have this pawn chain. They move their king out of the way, and what I should do is start trying to get my knight into the game. But instead, I move this rook and cut off the king from the c-file. They move the knight over here, and again, this is where I should get my knight into the game, because they would have to start taking some pawns. But I check with the rook here, and then they move their king over here. I decide to check with my bishop. They block with the pawn, and I miss that I could give the check with my rook right here, and after they move here, I miss that this is a double check for my bishop and rook. Then they can't take the rook, up here because they're in check from the bishop. They can't, and there's nothing that can take the bishop, so I miss that move and take with the bishop instead. They move their king up there. I go ahead and give it this check with my bishop. They can't take it because it's defended by this rook all the way down here. Because I realized if they move up there, I can go here and win their bishop. But instead, I take the rook here, but then they move their bishop out, and now the king is cut off from this square by my bishop, it's cut off from this square by my pawn right here, and it's cut off from this square by my rook, so this is a checkmate. So, I missed some forced checkmates in there, but I eventually found one. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, hopefully you enjoyed my thought process, and what I was able to set up in this game. So, if you like the video, maybe check out some other videos and see if you like those as well. Make sure to leave a like on this video, and make sure to drop a subscription to see more content. Have a nice day.